Have you filled up your fuel tank recently? What do you think of the bill? It's never a good sight, but in the weeks ahead, it could get worse. Oil prices have been stabilizing. In August, they hit a 6-month low. In some countries, oil bills, in fact, became smaller. But that's set to change now because the world's biggest oil cartel is planning to cut supplies. We're talking about the OPEC Plus. It's the largest group of oil-producing countries. It has 23 members. They produce around 30% of the world's crude. And the world's biggest oil suppliers are part of this group. I'm talking about the likes of Saudi Arabia, the UAE, even countries like Russia and Iran. They're all part of the OPEC Plus. And this group meets every month in Vienna. It's here that they decide how much crude they'll sell in the world market. And this decision has a clear bearing on the price of oil. So what do you think they decided on in this month's meeting? They decided to cut production. By how much? At least 100,000 barrels. The cuts will begin in October and the world is already feeling the impact. Let me tell you how. Yesterday, oil prices shot up. 1 barrel of Brent crude went up by $3. It crossed the $96 mark. Earlier, 1 barrel was priced at a little over $93. Brent crude is the leading benchmark for oil prices. It sort of dictates global prices. So oil shot up by 3%. And now here's something that you should know. The cut announced by OPEC Plus is not even equal to 1% of the global demand. So it may seem like a very small amount. But even a minor rise can shake up the balance sheets of nations. I'll give you the example of India. India is the third largest oil consumer in the world. It imports more than 85% of the oil it needs. When prices increase by even $1, just $1, India ends up spending about $1 billion extra on oil imports. That's how rising oil prices impact India's current account. For a $1 rise, India pays $1 billion more. And more often than not, it is you and I who foot this bill. The higher cost of importing often gets passed on to the consumers. So when OPEC starts reducing oil supply, there's a good chance your oil bills will rise. And OPEC Plus is not ruling out more supply cuts in the future. So this trend may continue. They want to jack up oil prices. You can ask me how, why, and I'll tell you it's because they want to make more money. Let's look at Brent crude. In the last 3 months, the price has declined by as much as 25%. OPEC Plus wants to recover some of those lost profits. They're keeping a close eye on prices. And they've even issued a statement. It says they're ready to hold emergency meetings. They will respond if the prices fall again, which means there could be more production cuts in store. Doesn't that feel like extortion? How can just 23 countries decide what the world pays for oil? That's why OPEC Plus is called an oil cartel. They control supply so that they can set the prices. But there's another reason why oil prices are where they are. The Western sanctions on countries like Venezuela and Iran are hurting the world. US and allies have restricted supply from these countries, which means fewer barrels and fewer suppliers. And now they're going after Russian crude. The G7 wants to put a price cap on Russian crude, basically limit Moscow's ability to earn from crude oil. And Russia has threatened to retaliate. It could ban the export of crude oil, and that would only mean higher prices. India has taken a strong position against Western attempts to influence oil prices. America and its allies have urged India to implement price caps on Russian crude. New Delhi has been non-committal so far, but it has made one thing clear. India will not participate in any boycott of Russian oil. There's no denying the fact that Russia's invasion of Ukraine caused some major disruptions, but Western sanctions are inflicting the same level of damage on oil and energy supplies. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.